Welcome to the Clean Truth, where we like to call bullshit on the status quo.
What is up? Welcome back to the Clean Truth. I'm Don. I'm your host. It is hump day. I asked one of the guys in the warehouse, it was you, Scott. I said, can I do a mulligan and just start New Year's over?
Always.
And we just got back from Mexico, and he said, do you get to go to Mexico again? I'm like, well, it's kind of the point of a mulligan, buddy.
Technically.
So, yeah.
That sounds kind of nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, well, Ben's not on this show, so usually I start out by busting his balls about something, and I'm not going to do that to you, buddy. So I usually shout out, our good friend Brett Bauer at Rain. She hooks us up with energy drinks so that we're very well caffeinated for these things. So, Brett, thank you. This week's Clean Truth. I didn't put this out on social media, but I saved this one from last week when I asked about this. And I figured this would be a good one, especially from having Rob on the show today. Somebody asked me what my favorite gun was. And my answer to that is I don't really have one.
Yeah.
I think I actually made a post about that the other day. I think that's where I got that from was I don't really have one.
Yeah.
I say be proficient in what you own. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the canned response to that one is the one that works and
Right.
the one that I have when I need to
Correct.
use it. Hopefully I don't, so
Yeah.
that one.
I do. I mean, if I had to answer the question, the new long range gun that I just built, that Tony helped
Yeah, I
me
think
build,
it's a beast, man.
I'm loving that. Even
Yeah, I
though
was
it's,
just out there with him going over some long range stuff, so that's a different ball game. It's so enlightening, man. It's it'll change your entire shooting game for sure.
we'll get into that in just a second. So I'm going to introduce our guest. We got Rob Rivera from SOF Way. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. Absolutely humbled to be here.
Well, let's just start off by talk about SOF Way, what it is, what you do. I think it's an awesome thing that you're doing, and I just want to bring you on here and share it and let everybody know what's going on. I think the clothes and the hats and shit are cool. And
I appreciate it, brother. Yeah, thank you. So the SOF Way, the Sons of Freedom, started as kind of just an initiative to raise money to get gear into the hands of those who need it. Contrary to popular belief, a lot of the people in the military and in uniform services, just overall in general, flip the bill on a lot of their own gear. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people assume that, because you're in the military or whatever the case, that, you're being provided these things. And you are to a certain extent, but there's an entire culture of lower enlisted in the military specifically that spend a lot of money that they're barely getting for kind of basic needs for the mission that they're carrying out. And that came as a result of, my real world experiences, and it kind of hit me in the face, especially on my last deployment. And so we use that, we call it our Apparel with a Purpose initiative, and we do firearms training, but we use that initiative as well to kind of cultivate a community, really, and kind of, grassroots build a thing up of people just, holding each other accountable, but also looking out for each other.
Sure.
I think we could use more of that, and I think people are, responding to that.
so talk about some of the gear that you're talking about. I mean, if you can, is it straps? Is it bags? Is it actual artillery stuff? I mean, is it? And the reason that I'm asking is because there was a police officer that I read about on the internet yesterday or the day before who got seriously injured.
Yeah.
And the only thing that saved his life was this elastic. It was like a bungee cord.
Yeah.
And it had a patch on it. And apparently this was like a rig that he had bought because the equipment that he had got was kind of faulty. And it's the only thing that kept him from basically dying.
Yeah.
And it was like a $3.15, thing.
Right.
So
Exactly. So, I mean, we fill needs kind of as they come along. We don't do like guns and ammo and stuff like that. I mean, like I teach firearms. I teach, firearms proficiency and marksmanship and things of the like. But, that's not something that we raise money for. We're talking about just the essential items that people go without all the time. We've, gotten gun belts out to, military and even special operations dudes. And, everything from that to, first aid kits, something that you would think would be the most basic thing that somebody who puts themselves in harm's way would receive. If they do that for a living, that they would have that. But we've actually outfitted first responders with, a lot of tourniquets as well, because kind of that example you were talking about, right? You wouldn't believe how many people who do this stuff for a living, right? No matter how, you feel about them or whatever the case with all that, these people that are out there, they can do without. That shouldn't mean they should have to, especially when it's something as simple and accessible as a tourniquet. So, we've outfitted people with a bunch of them and first aid kits and, gun belts and holsters and, these different things that kind of come up and through our experiences and through, kind of our, support base, which has been slowly growing, but, they get it and they're switched on because they've lived that life where they see what's going on. They want to contribute to that. And, I take input from everybody. What is the need? What is the next thing we're going to fill? Right. So we just got a pair of gloves out to a young dude that's out at a breacher's course right now. Right. So, we kind of take it as it goes. But, again, this all stems from, me being on the ground some years ago and, being on a pretty intense deployment with some young regular Army conventional guys, because I was a special operations dude at the time. And just seeing them do everything we were asking to do with absolutely nothing. They had zero support. It was eye-opening.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
You mentioned first aid kits. Have you ever bought a first aid kit?
Never in my life.
They're not cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, you were going through that, and I'm like, okay, man. Well, and the reason I'm saying that is I just bought one of those, like, the little My Medic things. I bought it for the farm.
Yeah.
And I don't know what made me think about it. I was just sitting at home one day, and I'm like, that piece of property that we bought it's tucked away so far back there.
Yeah.
If one of us fell or cut ourselves or something like that, we had nothing out there to do anything with it. And actually, the first deer that I killed out there, neighbor guy was helping me field dress it and jabbed his knife right through like the palm of his hand. Didn't go all the way through.
See it all the time.
But like poked it.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
And that's what made me think of it. The
Put
very
your
next
T-shirt on it.
Yeah. Very next morning
Yeah.
I'm like, man, if we get hurt, I don't have anything. So, and then I got on there and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, I think the first aid kit that I bought was like $100, and man, it was like the size of this computer.
Yeah.
They're terribly expensive.
Well, and it depends what you're getting them for too, right? So like, we've outfitted guys with blowout kits, that include like quick clot, things for, like
massive
trauma,
injury.
right? Yeah, and then, so a mix of that and a first aid kit is probably a decent idea. But you got to know what you're trying to treat. And I'm no medic. I've just, put thumbs in holes.
Ugh. Ugh. So where is the Sons of Freedom Way going, man? Like, what do you got plans for the future with this thing, or?
Yeah, well,
is there anything you'd like to do with it?
I mean, it started out as kind of a passion project. Just wanted to, kind of give back and, kind of a grassroots growing of this community of self-reliant people and people who want to live life to the fullest, and people say that a lot, live life to the fullest, but then they go about doing everything that they were doing the same way that they were doing it, and, just getting stronger and more accountable and more capable, and building that up and giving back as much as we can. So I didn't think we'd get this far, to be honest with you. So, we're offering the marksmanship piece, the firearms instruction piece. But as far as where it goes, I would like for it to continue to grow and for me to be able to just not be the catalyst for it, because obviously, it was my baby. I'm growing it from the ground up. And, it's grown slowly, but it's always steadily grown. And, the small following that we have, they're about it, man. They get it and they want to contribute to that. And I kind of, like when people post, with the shirts on, with the hats on, and they're out there, getting after it, fitness. They're out there on the range. They're out there, surfing, snowboarding, whatever the case. Like, that's going up on the page, right? And I would like for it to, continue to grow as this community-driven thing, because, unexpectedly, people are responding to it and just really, taking it on themselves. And, I would like to be able to step away and, let the community kind of grow itself.
Talk about the marksmanship a little bit, because I think I didn't know you did that until just recent, not too long ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've shot with you, half a dozen times already.
Yeah.
And, so that's part of this. Then you teach lessons and people.
Yeah. Yep. So I teach with our buddy Tony.
Sure.
I'm an instructor for Capable Inc. And we are just starting to offer, my individual small group services as well. And because, I still teach, within the special operations community full time. So this thing, like I said, was a passion project. But honestly, I didn't want to do the firearms piece. I kind of just used it to, promote, the culture and
Sure.
And our mission. Because I know some people dig that piece,
Yeah.
And I didn't want to take away from our initiative with the Apparel with a Purpose, right?
Right.
Because you see, people talk so much about giving back, but then it ends up being about them, and I didn't want that. But just to see this influx, recently in this last year of, historically high numbers of gun owners and, people who want to defend themselves, I feel like I can, in good conscience, just be able to give back some of that and still, be on par, be on task with the vibe that we're building.
Which, in my opinion, is very, very valuable. Very valuable. Not only from, the 1.4 million new gun owners, which is kind of scary, by the way.
Yeah.
To think about that. I'm all for it. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
But how many out of those 1.4 million they own a gun and they have zero clue how to do anything with it? I mean, it's very dangerous. But I think that's great. I think it's very valuable. And even for guys like me who have grown up shooting guns, but still from, I'll use some lingo here, from an applied ballistics perspective, that shit's still Chinese to me.
Well, it is to me
too. So,
bro.
like, I look at like I joked. I mean, who did I make this joke to the other day? I said, have you ever seen Days of Thunder? And they're like, what are you talking about? And so one, I had to give them shit because they had never seen Days of Thunder.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, the story in Days of Thunder is Tom Cruise, the really popular NASCAR driver. You can throw the motherfucker in a car and he can drive the car like it's night and day.
Yeah.
You ask him anything under the hood, or you ask him to take it apart, clean it, put it back together, whatever. He'll look at you like you got three heads.
Yeah.
And, sometimes in a lot of different areas with ballistics, that's me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Don't feel like the Lone Ranger. That's still me.
Tony can throw me on the ground and say, okay, here, your target's 450 yards away.
Yeah.
And I can pull the trigger and hit it.
Yeah.
Now,
but how did you do that?
Correct.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Giving me that data and especially in the whole long range game.
Yeah.
Which is still, it's very new to me. I mean, he had me get one of those Kestrels, the wind weather meters. Bro, I got that thing out, he was sitting here telling me this shit, and I'm looking at him, and I'm going,
yeah.
Like, I don't.
Yeah, but hey, bro, don't feel bad, man. Like, I've been running a gun now for some time, and I've literally been on the range with the best in the world when it comes to long range stuff, right? I'm not going to name any names, but
Sure.
you know, and I come away confused with like smoke coming out of my ears because I just don't.
Like you consume so much information.
Well,
that
you know,
like,
who's teaching it, how they teach it matters. Just
Right.
because they're, you know, that Albert Einstein of long range shooting doesn't necessarily mean they can teach, you know, a strong ranger like me how to do it.
True,
And
very
so
true.
like one day at the range, like with our buddy Tony, you know what I'm saying? Like makes way more sense to me. But you know, just on the application piece, you know, the defensive piece, like I've done that pretty heavy for a while now. So all that stuff is just pretty straightforward,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
It's definitely another language. Like with him and the whole long range stuff, I've had to take, you know, the couple times I've went out with him, I'd had to take the information and almost compartmentalize it and make sure that I picked up on two things.
Yeah.
But like kept track of what he told me, the rest of
Yeah.
it, and then go home
Yeah.
and then relive it all basically. And
Well, that's the big thing about, you know, training as it is, because you have this entire industry of, you know, like tactics and all this stuff and shooting, and some people just want to, you know, get out there and be on the range with this particular person, and that's cool. That's cool, but you know, you could pay whatever high dollar amount to be on the range with this person, but if you don't go home and like start to
put it to use.
break that up and
Sure.
see what that means for you as an individual, you're kind of just throwing your money away.
So let me ask you something. Is that something you've ever done? I saw this online. I can't remember who put this up, but they had paid this guy to come and work with their family on their own home defense.
Yeah.
I thought that was fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's something I would like to do with Yvonne and Gracie, our daughter. Is
Yep.
have somebody come in and say, okay, this is your home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, these are the points where your home is vulnerable, and this is how you would protect it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I've
saying?
done
From an
that.
educational-
Yeah, I've done that before, and what people are mostly surprised by is, you know, when they start asking about, well, how do I clear this room, or how do I clear that? And my first response normally is, well, do you need to go in there to begin with, right? Because again, you start researching, you start looking for what this type of stuff look like. You start seeing like, you know, military team room clearing type stuff. That's not
Yeah.
the normal person trying to defend themselves in their home. That's not me anymore.
Right.
Right? Do I even need to go in that room, or do I know where everybody else in my family is right now? And can I just sit at the top of my stairs with my cell phone in my hand, my weapon in the other, and go from there?
Sure.
Right?
No, you're absolutely correct. We've been dealing with some things at home with our 19-year-old. She might get mad at me for talking about this on the podcast. I don't think she listens anyway. Maybe she does, but she, for whatever reason, so one of my big, she doesn't have many rules, and she's a good kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But she's 19. You know, I was 19 once, and I remember what that was like. So I sometimes my anger gets the best of me, but for the most part, I can kind of sympathize with her a little bit. But one of my biggest pet peeves and my biggest rules is when she comes in at night, lock the door and set the alarm. We have CPI. We all have it on our phones. It's very easy. It's like a button. You just push it, and the door locks by itself. The alarm's on, whatever. Man, I might as well talk to that bulldog sitting at the table. Like, it is like pulling teeth to get this girl to do this.
Yeah.
And my whole point of this is because since we've lived down there where we live right now, which you would never think this would happen living where we live.
Yeah.
It's happened twice. We've had people come into our house
Oh my God.
with the door unlocked. The first time it happened was we lived there maybe a year. Some guy was really drunk, and he came in, and, I mean, he was inebriated, didn't know where he was at. I was gone. I had just left. My wife was there by herself.
Oh wow.
And he went in up to the second floor, took a shower, and tried to leave.
Holy
That's how drunk he was.
wow.
Well, she thought it was our housekeeper. She was up a floor and heard the housekeeper. She
Yeah.
thought the housekeepers were here. The only reason she went down there to investigate it was because he was in and out in like 10 minutes. And she was like, are these guys leaving or what?
Yeah.
So come to find out, it was a guy who had a breathalyzer on his car, got drunk, thought he was at the wrong house, couldn't get back in his car to start it because he was still drunk, couldn't blow in the thing. So cops came and they were like, yeah, this guy's he's done this before, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so they got rid of his car, and, that was the end of that one. Second time was a little more scary. Yvonne got up one morning at like 5:30 to go work out with some friends of hers, comes back to the bedroom, and she's like, hey, man, there's a dude on our couch passed out. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Is it Gracie's boyfriend or what? She's like, no, this dude ain't supposed to be here.
Yeah.
That's
insane.
Grab a weapon and go out there and
yeah.
kind of wake him up with the weapon. And
hey, guy.
Yeah.
Guy on the couch.
I had to escort him out of my house.
That is insane.
Yeah, it's happened twice.
Wow.
And so ever since then, I'm like, okay, dude, this is not that hard.
Yeah.
Like, we have an alarm system, lock the damn door. But getting back to what we were talking about, I think it would be cool to, maybe we can talk about this later, is, to pay somebody to come over and sit down with me and Yvonne and Gracie and say, okay,
yeah,
this is your house, these are your blind spot, or whatever, however it needs to be done. But
and it can become a daunting thing to some people, because as soon as you start to, start on that topic with someone, it can be very polarizing. But what a lot of people don't realize is, like, you don't have to live your life at full tilt. It just takes being a little more aware, and it goes a long way. Because I'm definitely not one of these guys who runs around in full kit, with body armor and
sure,
grenades in my truck or anything. If the ATF is listening, but just little things here and there, just to be a little more aware. Because if you can just see it before it happens, or be proactive before it happens, then it doesn't happen.
Right. I agree, man. What's on the horizon for, do you guys have any events coming up? Are you doing any events or?
Yeah, we are planning a day, a competition. We're gonna put on a match out here, and Tony's raised. We're kind of trying to bring that together, where there's going to be USPSA, or whether there's going to be a 2-gun, a pistol and rifle. But kind of waited it out right now because people are a little hesitant with the whole ammo ordeal, But we want to raise some money, and we're thinking, turn that right back around and, buy something in volume, for a committee that's, at one of the schoolhouses in, at Fort Bragg, or, some first responders, some aid bags, whatever the case may be. We're working on that, but that's kind of the event we're going to be working toward here pretty soon.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That last, was it the UA Patriots event?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was awesome.
The couple matches that I went up there and shot in, I think they were both ones, the 2 times I've done it, they were charity matches.
Yeah.
Man, I have a great time every time I go up there. I meet some of the coolest dudes.
Yeah, it's really cool how, if you're doing it right, just going out and shooting competitions, like, really bring some rad people together. Yeah, it's cool.
That's the one thing I told Yvonne. I said, man, some of these guys, they look like ninjas with a gun in their hand. But you would, and I've been around guys that are very good at certain things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And most of the time when you're in a community like that, egos are like out of this world. You know what I mean? But both times I've done that, dude, I've never experienced that. And that was the one cool thing that kept me coming back. I was like, okay, man.
That's really cool, man. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I asked a dude a question, you didn't get like, who the hell is this guy? Like, why are you asking me that? You know what I mean? So I've had a good time doing that. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome, man.
I have not been back up there to do that for the same reason.
Yeah, what the hell, bro?
Well, I can't fart bullets. Like, if you can tell me where I can get a couple thousand rounds of 9mm.
Yeah, hopefully things kind of settle down, and I don't know that it'll ever go back to normal, but yeah, right now people, I don't know. We'll see. It might take a little bit, because there's so much involved with, all the components, and then you got the competition between the companies that are producing the ammo, and it's hopefully it'll wash out here pretty soon.
Yeah, it's every conversation I've had about that. It's always been similar conversation about COVID. Well, when do you think it's going to end, man?
Right, yeah.
When do you think it's going to end, man?
Well, it's hard, especially for all these, new gun owners, because they think that's just how much you pay for ammo, and it's insane right now. It's absolutely insane.
Dude.
And I just feel bad because, especially, with guys who provide training or whatever the case may be, is there are all types of second and third order effects, this trickle down of in the industry is making it a rough go right now.
I sat right in there the other day. I was telling these guys earlier, normally I would never do this, but at the time it was the only thing I had available, and I just built that 6.5 Creedmoor, and I've got, I don't know, man, 200 or 300 rounds left for it.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a hodgepodge
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
which is not good
No,
in that
you want the
situation.
same. Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah.
And so I found this brand, and I can't remember if it's that Solier. I can't remember how you say it.
Yeah, no clue.
Anyway, I took a picture of it and I sent it to Tony, and I was like, "Hey man, is this any good?" He was like, "Nah, bro, don't mess with that." But it's a 140 grain bullet, and at the time I'm like, "Dude, I'm going on that trip with them in November."
Yeah.
And so I've got to start practicing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm not going to practice on good looks and charm. So, I mean, like, I got to put something through the barrel of that gun.
Yeah.
So I bought it. I bought 300 rounds of it, and I paid over $2 a bullet.
Sweet.
That's nuts. It's not sweet. Not sweet.
Yeah, that's the thing about the long range game, man. I mean, it's not expensive to get into it as people would believe, but just with the way things are right now, it makes it a little odd. But yeah, with like pistol and like your basic 5.56 rifle or M4 or something of the like. Man, I'm not one of these super picky guys when it comes to that kind of stuff. I mean, if it shoots, I'm pretty much running it, man.
Me too.
Yeah.
Except for that. I mean,
that's a different ball game. Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking to Drew online the other day, and
that's my man right there.
Yeah, he sent me some pictures of a new gun that he had just built.
Imagine that.
And I'm like, man, do you guys have like a secret like bullet fairy that you guys are buying ammunition from? Because I don't know. And anyway, we started talking, and I said I'm bummed because I just spent a lot of money building this gun, and
yeah,
I didn't intend to do that. That's just the way that it happened. And now, like, I'm stuck here with my finger in my butt and don't have that many rounds to shoot through it. And he was like, well, why don't you just go and you ever thought about getting a 6mm rifle? It's kind of a rare bullet. Not every swinger dick on the internet likes to shoot it, so it's ready available.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn it. And ever since he said that, I'm like, how do I build another rifle without my wife finding out? I've seriously been pondering this. I'm like, would Yvonne even notice if I had another rifle in my gun room?
If she listens to this.
Yes.
She won't listen to it. So
they always know.
Always know. Anyway. Well, cool, man. Tell everybody, do you want to share the website, like where people can find this? Dude, I think it's awesome. What you do is awesome. And
I really appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Well, I wanted to do it because it's something that's not a lot of people know about it. They don't know that it's out there, and this is kind of a need. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So it is the SOF Way, the SOF Way on Instagram, on IG is where we do the majority of our promotion and the posts and some of the shooting stuff and
sure.
The apparel. At least for now, we're on IG. If IG has anything to do with that, we'll see how that goes. But www.thesofway.com. So thesofway.com, and apparel's up on there for purchase, and that money goes right back to getting gear. We only do limited releases, and that's two-part because we're small.
Sure.
Started out, that was the primary reason, but then it's kind of become a thing where, you know, it gets sold out so quickly when we do these releases. So, you know, we kind of like having that sense of urgency.
The nostalgia behind it.
Yeah, you know, it kind of means something to people. So that's cool. But we still got swag on there, and we just released a new collection. So, yeah, that's where you can find us. And, yeah, if you want to come shoot, send me an email.
Awesome.
Come hit up a course at Capable Inc.
Awesome. Rob, thanks, man.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate it, man. Yeah.
All right, guys, if you got anything, any thing that you need, hit Rob up. He's a great dude. I've shot with him a million times. He makes me look like a 4-year-old, but that's another story, another day. All right, guys, till next time.